Hey, what's up my friends? Welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Victor and I help people navigate through their awakening process. And today I'm going to talk about with my friend, my special guest, Maor. We're going to get into how you can manifest pretty much anything. We're going to get very deep into the practical application of manifestation skills to acquire things like financial abundance and finding your purpose and a lot of the things that people commonly are interested in. Ray and I are going to do a few different videos together. The next one's going to be all about the ascension process and the Earth's ascension. And that'll be on his YouTube channel. If you want to check that out, I'll leave a link down below where you can subscribe to his channel so you don't miss that one. We're not exactly sure when that's going to go out, maybe within a week or two. Anyways, without further ado, I'm going to introduce my friend Ray here, and we're going to do kind of a Q&A format. And I'm going to ask him some questions so he can share a lot of his wisdom about the manifestation process, which he's very good at. Okay? Without further ado, my buddy Ray. Welcome my friend Ray here.
How you doing?
What's up, man? Good to have you.
Thank you.
Can you provide us with 2 manifestation techniques that you personally use?
Sure. Well, we'll dig into why it works later, but the first manifestation technique is gratefulness, because when we are matching a frequency, we're actually changing. Like we know, the world mirrors what we feel and what we believe. So when we are always thankful for everything that we have, we're actually creating an expectation that the universe will fill the void, and that the expectation is something more to be grateful for. You understand? It's that simple. That's why a lot of people think when I ask them to thank something, they are going for the big things in life. I thank my children and I thank my health. No, it should be for the smallest things in life. Thank God I have tap water in my house. Thank God I can drive a car to my work and I don't have to take a horse or a camel. Things like that, the small things in life. And when you're grateful enough, then the universe will actually create more things to be grateful for. And the second method I usually use is first thing when I wake up in the morning, before my legs touch the ground, I close my eyes and I say, I'm going to have an amazing day. I'm not saying I want to have an amazing day. I'm not wishing. I'm not asking or praying God for an amazing day. I am in the knowingness. So it is the moving between the I want, I believe I should, to I know. And when you say, I know I'm going to have a beautiful day, the day really starts that way. Just imagine that you're a girl and you have an amazing hair day. So the whole day suddenly becomes amazing. It suddenly works. Why? Because my hair looks so amazing today, right? But the opposite can be the same. If I started my morning bad and I had a bad hair day this morning, then maybe the whole day is going to be shitty. Because we have days like that it starts that way. And then afterwards it becomes the way what we thought it's going to be because our expectation created that. These are like 2 very, very simple tips. That's like for beginners that they can just practice it. Now you don't have to believe it when you say it, but if you know, the knowingness will go down into the subconscious and it will start creating that day in that particular way. Yeah.
Yeah, that's funny. You said I totally agree. In fact, my morning routine very much resembles yours. I wake up and I meditate and I visualize how I want my day to go, but I do it in a way that I try to create those feelings of gratitude and well-being. I often kind of visualize me having a good day with my family. And I try to kind of just capture a very positive, kind of higher vibrational state of being. And then, like you said, that can kind of trickle into the day and have a good effect on how it goes. So that's fantastic. Excellent.
What about you? Except for imagining your day in the morning, what would you recommend for people to manifest as a tip?
Honestly, I think you summed it up nicely. I think it's about whatever you got to do to cultivate a positive energy state. And I think it's important that you mentioned it's not that, oh, gee, I want this, because saying I want that kind of puts out the feeling of I don't have yet. Rather, it's like, I have that. I am grateful. You have that energy of allowance and receiving, and it tends to work. So I honestly, I wouldn't really add much to what you said. I think that's a great place to start, is to set your intentions every day and cultivate a grateful state of being. What would you say are the most common failures, why people trip themselves up when it comes to trying to manifest what they want?
I think the biggest one that I noticed is, well, there's something that is called the 7 steps of manifestation, and maybe one day we'll go into that. But the last step is to release the expectation. It's sort of like if you had a bow and arrow and you see your target ahead of you. Now, setting yourself, pulling it, looking at it, aiming at it before you're actually releasing the arrow, all of those things are the belief, the intention, the emotion, and the goal, the setting of the goal, the definition of what it is that you really want, and putting yourself up there in that frequency. But once you let it go, you let the arrow go, it's already on its way to the target. And at this point, you need to let go of the expectation and go into the trust. Now, the number one problem is that we don't completely go into the trust. We keep comparing the result we wanted with the result we now have. And we don't have the patience to let life unfold in the ways that it's supposed to unfold, and for the betterment of everyone involved together. And because we do that, we compare, we create a doubt, we create a fear that lowers the frequency, it lowers the chi or the energy that is involved in the creation of this, and therefore we can't really get it. Those who really get it are the ones that do this. They set the goal, they release the arrow, they know and they trust that the arrow is going to reach the target when it's supposed to reach. And the higher, the higher we are in our ascension process, between when we're moving up to the 5D, then we learn to trust much more. We're more connected to our higher self. We understand that the higher self is more than us. The ego is then minimized to the self, and the awareness to the higher self is the letting go and the trusting, the acceptance that it will unfold in the best way they will make it. You understand? That's the number one, I think. Other ones are, people who don't know how to use the visualization correctly, or people who don't really define what we really want, A normal person is so busy in his day-to-day life that he doesn't have the time to define that thing he wants. What you're doing every morning, that's amazing. Most people don't do that. If, for example, I go to a meeting, the first thing I will visualize before the meeting is what is my highest expectation of that meeting, and what is my medium expectation of that meeting. And then I know that the end result will be somewhere between those two. But when you go into a meeting without knowing, you don't have the goal, then it's completely arbitrary, and you're going to go into this arbitrary mode. It will be completely random result because you have not clearly defined what it is that you want. It can be in your relationship, it can be in your job, it can be, your goals. What are your goals for this year? What are your goals in this relationship? What are your goals in this trip? What do you want to learn from it? So that's two things. So the first one is the comparing, and the second thing is that you weren't clear enough. And when you're clear, you have to, for example, if you tell the universe, I want to win the lottery, that's not being clear. You need to connect with the energy, the emotional energy you will have in the end of that journey. So that means I want to be financial free, or I want to have no dependencies. I want to feel wealthy, and you will feel how wealthy feels. But if you tell the universe, you minimize it to just winning the lottery, well, the universe can marry you with a wealthy spouse, or the universe can make you win something else, or there's many, many different ways that this feeling can come to pass. So when a person tries to visualize only one way, that's also an error, a very common mistake that people do when they're trying to manifest.
Yeah, I found the same, honestly, the same too. I'm not trying to copy you, but that would be probably the two things that I would say as well. Not a lot of people I talk to, they're like, well, I want to be abundant. I want to be happy. I want to help people. And I say, you get specific, get clear. But it's a paradox. Like you said, sometimes it's good to be specific and have like clear aims, but also to be very flexible. A lot of times on the road to what we think we want, we learn that I don't actually want this. I'd rather have this because, as you kind of mentioned in the beginning, it fits in better with the grand scheme of things. It's not going to negatively affect other people, my like almost egoic pursuit. So, but at the same time, it's necessary, I think, to have a clear goal to begin with to kind of get you going, but then just be real flexible and willing to kind of adapt your course based on the feedback you get. Sometimes the universe will help clarify for you what it is you actually do want. So it's good to kind of be relaxed with that.
Yeah, so simply like have a goal and then pretty much let it go and understand that everything that's going to come is going to come in the right way and in the right magnitude. Yeah,
it's funny you mentioned, because when I first started to realize like how powerful it is when you do set your intentions, that you can manifest stuff. I wanted to win the lottery. And as I was kind of pursuing it, I started to get like signs and synchronicity that said to me like, this is not really your path, man. This is not your purpose. You're meant to be doing this other thing. if I was to have won the lottery like I thought I wanted, maybe I wouldn't have gotten on YouTube or helped people or got a lot of the awesome joys out of life that I would have missed having just kind of been sitting cozy with my lottery winning. So that was my first example of having to kind of let go of what I thought I wanted to do, what the universe had in store for me. And at the same time, that's what kind of made me happiest in the end anyway. So yeah. What can I manifest?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's a good question. Everything. A relationship, a better job. You can actually change your physical body. You know, it's like, what are the potentials of this? Science currently uses the placebo effect to show us that we can heal from anything. I actually used it when I wanted to get out of my military to create a disease. So the mind can manifest almost anything, but usually we don't do it in a conscious way. We do it in an unconscious way. So we believe that before the winter time, we need to get sick at least one time. We're going to have the flu. That belief creates that in the body. Same thing with the relationship. You know, we can believe that we deserve a person that will love and respect us. But most of the people don't really believe that. And we go into the same, we can call it karmic lesson until we find the person that is out of that karmic lesson, or until we face reality and understand that it's something inside of us that we need to change. But we can pretty much manifest everything that we want. Now, obviously, you know, I'm not flying up here yet. Like, I'm not levitating yet, and I believe a person can levitate. So probably I don't have a belief yet that I'm capable of doing that. But perhaps if I would see somebody levitate, I will also begin levitating, because I will see that it's a game of the mind, of the illusion. I will understand that he's a person just like me. So I believe that almost anything is manifestable, sort of like anything that you can probably imagine.
Yeah, cool. I agree. I think I like what you said as well. I think it's determined about if you can actually believe it. Like you said, I'm not able to jump over trees because I don't really believe I'm strong enough to do that. But like you said, as you go through, at least for me, and I've had success manifesting things I wanted that were maybe a bit of a stretch for me at the time, and it's happened for me. It's allowing the flexibility, my beliefs to be more like flexible, where I can believe loftier sort of things like goals, because I have some actual practical experience with success manifesting things. And also, as you said, seeing other people as an example is very powerful. Sometimes when I want something that I know I have like unconscious beliefs about, I will go and I'll research people who kind of have achieved what I want, just so I can kind of train my mind to really say, it's possible. You're limiting yourself because of your unconscious beliefs, and it's not actually true. It's an illusion, because there's all the evidence. So yeah, good stuff.
That's perfect. You know, in the workshop, you know, I'm teaching the pranic living workshop, and right now I had one in Sedona, 40 people. And again, in 10 days, I'm supposed to convince them to show their subconscious that they can live with 10% of the food intake that they used to live with. And when you're doing this, you know, all these doubts come up and these fears come up. But after 4 or 5 days without food and water, they suddenly stand up in the morning and say, my God, I'm supposed to die. Something here has actually changed. So you need to really see a person to believe it, or you need to make the process with yourself in some way. And I think that this is what taught me how to become a manifestor, because I understood how much power the placebo effect, the belief effect, has on the body. So therefore, to understand how the placebo effect works with the entire, you can say, complex of the reality. Because reality is vibration, right? We're not real, we're just a type of vibration, and that vibration attracts other vibrations by the heart, the feeling, and the mind, the mental part. When you understand all this and put all of this together, that's the secret. And I think one of the things that is really missing with understanding manifestation today is that everybody was really brainwashed by the movie The Secret, which is really good, but The Secret only talks about, you know, see it in your mind, and it never puts the heart. You have to feel as if that thing has already happened. And this is really confusing, because a person lives in a 3D reality where there's a future and there's a past, and he foresees something that he wants and he imagines it in the future, instead of understanding that the only way it will really work, the only now moment, is in the present. So you have to imagine as if you're already holding that thing in your hand, right? There's the expression, if you see it in your mind, then you can hold it in your hand. And that makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that exactly that's probably the biggest missing link from The Secret, which again it's a good film because it really opened people up in a sense, but um, it is all about cultivating that state of being representative of what it is you are seeing in your mind and want. So excellent stuff. Okay, what would you suggest? What would be the ideal state of mind that someone should possess when they want to be successful and manifest abundance?
This is a tough one. It's more about the letting go of limiting beliefs. For example, people who are our type of audience, our followings, they are a new ager type, really open-minded, but they have a belief somewhere that money is built from people who are actually manipulators. Money is the source of all evil. They have a belief also that money is like less is more, which is the toughest one, you know? So they will prefer to buy in a cheaper store, go to a cheaper country for a vacation, instead of understanding that it's a switch and abundance is there. You know, the world's most successful people were not the most intelligent people. They're the ones that believed in themselves the most. So we'll just continue. They persist. Edison, he broke or more than 1,000 light bulbs before he actually created a light bulb that works. So he learned from his failure by persisting and persisting and believing in himself. So I would say to really believe in yourself is to not listen to the story that you keep telling yourself. So one business didn't work, fuck that, sorry. One business didn't work, it didn't work. Put it in your past. But now the story that they tell themselves is that they tried and they failed, and they tried and they failed. Instead of that, just look, the rich always have a story of a failure somewhere in their past. They just persisted, they went beyond that. So you have to really believe in yourself. If you continue and persist and believe that you're going to do it, you're going to be wealthy. But you have to see if you have these limiting beliefs. Do you believe that you deserve to be wealthy? Do you really believe it? Don't say because you expect it to be true. Do you really believe it? Go through all of your life, see the ups and downs, fall in love with yourself, understand that you've already been through everything you need to go through, and now you've reached that point that everything should be simple, everything should be easy. It doesn't have to be a resistance, because whatever it is that you have been taught by social programming, that's what's going to happen. If you've been taught that relationships are hard, you're going to find a tough relationship and you're going to make it hard for yourself. The same thing with money. If you have been taught that money doesn't grow on trees and you have to work really hard to get it, that's exactly what you're going to find. Now look how many people in our life, they stop working in that job that doesn't define them anymore, the job that took 5 days a week, 10 hours a day. They minimized to 3 days a week. They started working in a job that they really enjoy, and the money just started flowing. The money just started coming naturally because they are in a higher vibration, and therefore they attract the right people, the right customers, the right circumstances in their life. So everything is about doing that thing that defines you and you enjoy. If you wake up in the morning and you don't have a smile on your face, next to a person that you're no longer in love with, living in a fear of a relationship or a fear of a job, then you cannot manifest all these things. But the closer you are, and you're a master of ascension, so you probably understand this, the closer you are in your ascension process, the higher you become in your vibration level, closer to the 5D. And there is just about speaking it and understanding it's going to happen, completely letting go, being completely integrated with your higher self. So it's also about being good with yourself, because having a high vibration has so many different variables to it, but it's mostly about the way you feel about what it is that you're doing in every moment. So if you want to be really successful, first see, how can I enjoy life more? I cannot enjoy life. I will have a very low vibration. I cannot be really, really successful. You understand?
Yeah. Yeah, good. That's kind of how it's played out for me as well in my own life. You know, like a lot of people, there was years ago where I was like, I want to be abundant. I want to have more money. I don't like being in debt. I was in a lot of debt at one point. And what the universe brought to me wasn't necessarily immediately money. It was circumstances to reveal to me where I had self-limiting beliefs. And I had a lot of them. I think a lot of us do if we get real honest. I thought if I had a lot of money that I would be a neglectful father, or I would lose myself. I'd lose my integrity and my honesty.
Exactly.
And it's like, I don't think logically, but ultimately, deep down, I did. I had, again, they're unconscious beliefs. So for me, there was a process of like going through those for a while. And then, as you said, as you let go of them, I think our natural state is worthy and abundant, and we just start to rev a little higher. And like you said, you just attract the circumstances. The money just kind of flows in, not so mystically, but in a sense it does. It just kind of waves in where you might have been kind of having these blocks before because you removed the block. So yeah, that's been my experience as well.
Yeah, I also found that, money that is standing, it's like energy, right? Energy that is standing is not helping anyone. So if you're stuck saving up, being cheap on yourself, not buying yourself things, not indulging in life, then you're not going to get a lot. But once you force yourself to start buying things, wasting more money or spending more money on yourself or for others, then actually the bottle is open and it starts flowing. I had a relationship that was really, really bad. I was very spiritual. She was very materialistic. And I understood that in order to please her, the way that she knows how to receive love is through money. It's either that you buy her gifts or you take her out or you spend a lot of things on her. And I tested her out a few times to see if she understands that, money is energy and both people should pay for it and stuff like that. And I just realized that this is not going to work. I really have to start spending more money on this girl. And maybe when you give her love in that way, maybe she will one day understand more about how I react to spirituality and money, stuff like that. And once I did that, suddenly more, you can say, channels of revenue started coming into my life. And I didn't put the two together, only retroactively. But I suddenly understood that before that, I was like saving. I didn't want to spend a lot. I believed that less is more and I don't need a lot to have a good time. And once I started spending, and I'm talking about a lot of money on this woman, like a lot, then suddenly more money just came in, more job, more people signing up for workshops, more like really, really, I don't know, it just changed. Everything just changed. And I went in 50% more income within like 2 or 3 months, just like that. A snap of a finger. Yeah. And it just happens. And, I think that it's hard for us because we're in a good place. But in the beginning of the road, it's hard for a person to understand that it's easier than what you think. And it's mostly your illusion or the walls that you have built upon your belief. And when a person is just in the beginning, he says, no, that's not so easy. You had luck. You had circumstances or people. And it's no. I want to everyone that really is looking at this now and thinks that it's not about him and it's circumstantial and stuff like that. It's the energy that we emit to the universe. If we do believe that there's like a cloud of abundance up there, and we believe that we deserve a part of it, but really believe honestly, then we will get that eventually. And it becomes easier and easier with time. And actually, the higher you get, the less you want, especially if you're in a personal development path. So you understand that I already have everything that I want. I want to start giving and serving humanity in some way. And for example, in abundance, something I learned from Tony Robbins is always give. So every workshop I give in different countries, I donate 5% of the whole income to saving young women that have been, kidnapped and sexually assaulted and stuff like that. Because I understood that, you have to give a part in order to also receive abundance. This works with love, this works with chi and prana, but it also works with money. So you give and you will receive. It has to be a flow.
Yeah, I agree, man. And it's like you said, it was hard for me in the beginning. It was one of the hardest things for me I had to do because I had a lot of those self-limiting beliefs about money. And it does get easier. And one of the things that helped me a lot was shifting my mindset rather than I want more money so I don't feel so restless and insecure. And just like, it was to like, how can I help people? How can I like be of service, as much of service to people as possible? And just having that kind of giving hand, it's like then my hands are no longer closed. Now it starts to come in as well. But I also know what you're saying. For a long time I had a very like frugal mindset that I had inherited from my dad. He was very much like that, and it caused me to like just have a feeling, a state of being of constant lack. Like I can't buy this because I don't have enough. But I had to kind of, as I kind of let myself go a little bit, you open yourself up. So good stuff, man. Okay, would you have any advice for someone who wants to take what we're talking about and consciously practice what we're saying on a daily basis so they can be a conscious manifestor?
Yeah, well, I put on a video series about manifestation in Udemy. I think it's called udemy.com. And I think there's amazing courses there as well. practice. It's like 3 or 4 hours of videos. Go over all the videos, and then you'll have a lot of different exercises. If you really want to start and you don't know yet how to start, it's the visualization part, just like you do in the morning. You start by understanding what it is that you want, understanding that you can get it, and putting the energy and the time to define it and visualize it, connect with it. But there's so many different ways of understanding that you're a manifestor and practicing it. In the beginning, you really need to put some time into it. After a while, you understand that you're already doing it naturally. But it's more, because I'm more of a mental person, I believe you're also that type of person that really needs to understand something before, then use enough examples. This video we're doing now is going to introduce you to many, many different examples. For example, you can imagine yourself as a television set. Any television can actually broadcast many different channels. But on one point, and you're holding the remote, you're only broadcasting one channel, one frequency, one visualization, or one thing that you want to manifest. So you can be a channel of, CNN, or you can be MTV. It's your vibration that chooses your experience here. And you are the one that has the remote, but just don't forget, you are the one that is holding all the different vibrations. It's just that you forget, and you're not doing it consciously. If you will always emit MTV, your life will become MTV, right? That's the point of practicing that. So it's more work of self-awareness. It's more work of consciousness awareness, all those things.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's about, like you said, putting the time in and building up, on one hand, building up your manifestation muscle almost. Like now my ability to imagine something I want and feel it, I'm better at it. It's more clear, and like I can do it faster. And also it's about making the habit of doing it throughout the day. Like you said, before a meeting, you don't just go in there like lackadaisical. You say, I want it to be good. You imagine it going good. It might take you 20 seconds or so in your mind as you're walking out the door, but it has a profound effect. It's about making the habit of being a conscious creator. So that's
precisely. Yeah.
Okay, what would you say is the meaning of letting go and trusting and allowing in regards to manifestation?
This is the tough one. For spiritual people, we can say trust God, your higher self, your angels, the one. Everyone defines it very, very differently. But it's sort of like to understand that you are just a part of something that is very vast, and your ego is that thing that doesn't let you see that it's vast, and you're just a very, very small part of it, because you want to think that you are that thing. When you trust and you let go, it's more like an acceptance that I am very, very small. And this thing that I'm asking for myself to manifest, it's much bigger than me. So I'm sort of like praying to my higher self, telling him, please, but I trust you, and I let go that you will do it in the perfect ways. And I know that it's going to come to pass exactly the way it was supposed to come to pass. That's the trusting. And I think a lot of people still have kind of serious issues with that. Because first, sometimes when we think about letting go, we think that we're losing control of some sort. And it's not. We're not losing control. We're gaining control of something that is much bigger than us. We're sort of like, it is being modest. It's to understand that I am just grains of sand that come from Gaia, from the planet Earth. And something much bigger is involved here, more than I can understand, more than I can feel. And I'm bowing in front of this thing and humbly asking it to help me.
Yeah, good. Another thing I found is that I've gotten better at letting go and trusting with experience. Sometimes I find that there are things in my life that I feel kind of like I just have an intuitive knowing that it's not working, I should let it go. And usually parallel to that is something else I want. And it can be tough to let go in order to receive. And for a while I would resist letting go, and I would cling on even though it was like so obvious to me that it's just not going to work. But now I'm more quick to let go, because just the manifestation process or whatever has proven itself to me that when there's something to let go of, there's something even better always that does flow in.
Yeah,
I do let go of. So I let go a lot faster now because I'm anxious to get to what's next. I know that letting go is part of the new. It's connected. It's not separate from. So I think for a lot of people, a lot of people right now are getting kind of asked in a sense, by themselves to let go of things that are becoming more obvious to them as not working. And I just think that the more they do that, they inevitably will. You can only hold on for so long. It just, their trust will kind of just come more naturally, because it's a natural thing, manifesting and creating our reality. It's only kind of an illusion that it's some kind of skill to be gained. Rather, it's kind of natural to us, and it works. It's a system that works beautifully, and with time comes trust, in my experience.
Yeah, so you're saying you not only trust that it's going to come in the best way, but you trust that when you let go of something that doesn't serve you anymore, behind that door, something better is going to come.
Absolutely, yeah.
That's even better. Perfect. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, I know we touched on this, but why do you think being grateful is so important? A lot of people talk about gratitude in relation to manifestation.
Well, it's all about the matching of your frequency with something, right? If we really simplify it down to, the physics of it, then one thing is a frequency. It doesn't matter if you define this as a good thing or a bad thing. It's just a frequency. So let's say an emotion, a certain emotion that you're going to get out of something is a frequency. So it can be love, it can be hate, it can be fear. Let's talk about the thankfulness. That's a frequency. Now, when you are in that state, it's Christmas, everybody got gifts right now, everybody's really, really happy. Somebody's describing something that he wants to be grateful for, his relationship, his children, his health, whatever. Then he's going into this state and he's starting to vibrate in the same frequency as the frequency of gratefulness. So the more you spend time in a certain frequency, the more the universe is going to match another frequency that is similar to that. So again, if you're constantly afraid and you're constantly judging yourself, you're becoming a victim, you're judging other people, you gossip a lot, then the universe is going to give you more and more things to gossip about and to victimize yourself and to judge yourself. But if you're in that grateful state, or if you're just very, very happy, then the universe will give you more things to be happy for. That's why you see a lot of people that they cannot see the negative anymore. And you're a little bit jealous or envy of these people. You're sort of like, wow, can they really reach that state? And the mind will sometimes make you think that it's an illusion and that's the way that they show, but it's not the way that they are. But really, a different vibration means a different set of glasses that you're putting on the world. So, for example, when you're in love, when you're working on a project you enjoy, when you're living in the moment, suddenly there's more beautiful people. Now, people haven't changed. It's your glasses, your pink glasses that have changed. So the same thing with the frequency. You've changed your frequency to be more grateful. Therefore, the universe will provide you with more things to be grateful for because you've started appreciating them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, I agree with all that. I just think it's like you said, it's simple physics. It's like the energy state of gratitude is a higher vibrational state, and therefore you will be just giving out those higher vibes, and your life will just start to slowly reflect that. And It's also because most people I find can be grateful for something. Like you said, some people, when I say be grateful, they say, well, it's easier for you to say you have a nice wife and you have kids. And it's like, well, no. I always say, you're on a computer right now. You're watching YouTube, obviously. That's abundant compared to a lot of the world. You're breathing. I'm standing up. I'm not in a wheelchair. Like you said, if you're just slightly creative, you can become really grateful really quick. And then it's just making the habit of having that state. Yeah.
I think people should be deprived of something to appreciate it. That's why, when we have a fight with our girlfriend or with our wife, then suddenly afterwards we appreciate her much more. And then a day after we forget. And, same thing with money, same thing. When our car is broken down, we suddenly appreciate it having a car. But you need to practice this state of being, comparing yourself to those that are lacking in order for you to understand how much you already have.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
By the way, this is the number one problem for people who are extremely wealthy. This is why in Hollywood, for example, we see a higher suicide rate. We see divorces happen every 2 to 3 years. It's sort of because of this reaction that, they just forget to appreciate. Plus, the ego is driven up so much because of the fans that each person has such a big ego that he cannot manifest as easily anymore, just because of those things. Now, money, a lot of people think about money and abundance and manifestation only about those type of things, but I think that we just want to be happy. We want to live our dreams. We want simple things. Money is one of those simple things that can make our life easier, but it's not the number one cause of us to be here, right? Because we'll go back to the spirit world and there's no money there. There's abundance, but the abundance is completely different.
Yeah, I agree. I've had times in my life where I've had like more money than others, and I found that, like you said, it's all relative. Like the people at the top and making billions of dollars maybe in Hollywood, it doesn't necessarily equate to them being way happier.
Not at all.
Kind of, it's fun on the ascent, like, well, I'm coming into more, but then you plateau, and then there's like you're going up the next thing. So it's about the gratitude. Like Tony Robbins talks about this too. Like gratitude has different meanings in different parts of your life. When you're younger, you want a car and like a hot girlfriend or a boyfriend, and then you want to get a house. And then when you're much older, you want your health. Your health is like being healthy is abundant. So it's a state of mind. Yeah, the money is a part of it, but it certainly tends to be the primary focus with most people. But
I think it's because we're in a society of lacking some ego, some jealousy. But when you don't have enough of something, then you want it more, and you sort of like split your life into two until I have that thing, and after I have that thing. So I think that I don't have enough money. I will focus all my work on getting more money, and then everything will sort itself out. No, it's not true. Everything will sort itself out right now if I just change the story, change my state of being, you know?
Yeah.
It's hard for me to see that, but I can definitely understand that. It's like a wheel, right? It's like a self-fulfilling prophecy that we are in a lack. We talk about the lack. We build up a life and a manifestation of a lack. And then again, we are in the lack. So you have to like change the story, start saying that you have enough, start seeing that there's more than what you need, and then it will come to pass, you know, it will become reality.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then the irony is that you won't even need it. You won't even feel like I needed this stuff. That'll become less important once you get it anyway. So it's funny that way.
Yeah, it is.
Okay. How would you say our vibration is influencing our ability to manifest?
Wow, that's a tough one. Well, the easiest thing, like the one sentence or the elevator pitch will be, the higher your vibration is, the more you're able to manifest things into existence, and the shorter time frame it will take you. Sometimes we want something, and then after a month we get it, but we don't understand why it took a whole month, or we're sort of like grateful and remember that we wanted that. But to become in a higher vibration, there's many different variables to that, especially our state of being, our presence, or our existence in the now, and everything like that. So I would say, don't worry if you work more on being in a higher vibration and less on trying to manifest, and manifestation will come automatically. Now, there's a trick to this. I don't know if you're already there, but when you go high enough, you don't want anymore. You're sort of like moving between the having phase of life, I want love, I want money, I want abundance, to the being phase of life. And we're like transcending from here to here. Everyone is somewhere here. But when you get all the way here or close to this, we call it, you know, the fifth dimension, the next stage of evolution, then you're sort of like, I have. And then, like, for me, what happened is that I wanted to serve humanity. It's sort of like one cell in the body waking up to understand that he is in a body, and other cells are not happy, or other cells need information. And then he says, okay, I want to help the body. It's enough for me. I'm good where I am. So when you get there, you don't want to have that much, or you don't need that much, because you're sort of like content with what you have. You're connected more with your spirituality, with your higher self. Some people even break up relationships because they feel that the feminine side and the masculine side have united within themselves. That's why a lot of time Buddhist monks and other types of people who practice Zen, they are doing it by themselves. They don't want anything. They want no hair. They want just one type of clothes. They want just one type of food. And they understand that they're in the being. Having doesn't matter anymore. So they don't want to have children. They don't want to have a relationship. So there's an issue here. So you can find yourself having and wanting, and that's okay. But when you manifest everything that you want and you get to this place, suddenly you won't want to want anymore, and you really begin serving. Serving can be done in many ways, serving humanity. You can be a loving mother. You can be just a happy person. You can be a guide or a mentor, like what we're trying to do, give information free of charge over YouTube and stuff like that. But it happens automatically. You don't even recognize it until it's already happened.
Yeah, yeah, for sure, man. Yeah, I'd say I'm definitely in a place where I still want things, but I try to really enjoy the journey more and not need anything to kind of satisfy me. That's what I find. I'm really appreciating the journey and just like you said, trying to be as happy as possible within whatever's going on. Like right now, I'm moving. We just, a lot of people, it's stressful to move. We have kids and stuff, and it has been, but I'm trying to have fun with it and not like need it to all be perfect and set up in order to like have made it. And so it's like on one hand, I want it to be that way, but I don't need it to be, and I can be happy in the different transitions.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
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 Okay, this is a good one. It's not easy for people. How can someone leave their comfort zone and like shed their bad habits that they suspect are kind of getting in the way of them living their best life?
Wow. First, I think that to leave the comfort zone, you need to be aware of the comfort zone,
Yeah.
Being aware is sort of like, okay, I want to exercise. I want to go to the gym, but I don't really do it. I sign up and then I go for a week and then I stop. And then I do the same thing again after a few months, or like quitting smoking. So what is my comfort zone? Define the comfort zone. And then there's a few ways. First thing, make it easy for yourself. For example, one person came up to me and he told me, Ray, I really want to go back to jogging in the morning. But every time I wake up in the morning and, the blanket is really, really nice and I just hit the snooze button again until I really need to go to work. And I've been doing this for months. So I told him, okay, make it simple for yourself. Have less steps. I told him, wear the clothes that you're going to use for your jogging when you go to sleep. Have your sport shoes right next to you. Have your socks already on. And then, he calls me in the evening, tells me, Ray, that was amazing. I woke up, I saw him already completely fit, everything is good to go. I'm just putting my legs inside the shoes and I went jogging. So you have to see where your resistance is and try to shorten the path. And exactly the same with opposite, things that are too easy. For example, if you're going to have shitty food around the house, you're going to eat that shitty food. But if it's going to be in the supermarket, you're not going to eat it. You're not going to drive all the way up there. You're just probably going to snack a carrot instead of snacking a donut if it's what you're going to have. So distance yourself. Know yourself. Put more levels of complexity between you and the bad habits that you've already developed. That's for one example. You have more for stepping out of the comfort zone?
Yeah, it's a complex topic, obviously, like you said. Yeah, I usually recommend kind of a few different things. One of them, including what you said. One of them, pretty much what you said, because you have to first become aware of why. Like, I want to jog, but I'm not. Why? What are you afraid of? You not believing yourself? What's the deep issue? Why you keep like kind of sabotaging yourself in a sense? And a lot of people, I think, right now are their life is kind of showing them where they're tripping themselves up. Number two, I just say kind of this freaking. I think Mel Brooks had a book, The 5-Second Rule. She had trouble getting up out of bed, and she realized that she saw a rocket kind of shooting. She was watching TV late one night, drinking some wine, and she saw a rocket go off, and it was like 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, blast off. And it dawned on her, like, that's what I'm going to do. So the next morning, her alarm went off. She said, about 5 seconds before I talked myself out of it. So she thought in her head, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and just shot herself out of bed. So sometimes I'm saying it just takes like willpower. Don't allow the doubts or the ego to like have such momentum. And then thirdly, having a technique, doing like you said, taking it seriously. If you want to jog, but you don't even have jogging shoes, you're not prepared, you didn't leave yourself enough time to get to work anyway, you're not really taking it that seriously. Take it seriously. Freaking put on that jumpsuit, get the shoes there, put it in your calendar, 5-second rule it, and get up out of bed and do it. So it's kind of a lot of different things. It's not easy though. It's hard to break old habits, and sometimes even doing something positive like I want to eat healthier. Well, that's good. It makes you feel good. For a time, if you've been eating unhealthy for a long time, it doesn't feel right in your body. It feels unnatural to eat healthy. So there's a period of like discomfort, even as you integrate positive things in your life. So we could talk all day about this. It's a tough one, but yeah. What you said.
I would also say graduality for a lot of people. I think that going into a diet or anything like that is too extreme, you're just going to pop out of the resistance to yourself. But if you gradually go into that exercise or gradually introduce healthier food and stuff like that, definitely. But most people should really begin by understanding what is my comfort zone. Sometimes my comfort zone is a relationship that doesn't serve me. And I don't understand why I'm stuck and why this person is not treating me with the respect that I deserve. And yet I'm still here because this is my comfort zone. This is where I go back to all the time. When you define it that way and you understand it that way, then you take the courage. For example, I'm a very extreme person. So every time I see a comfort zone for me, I immediately want to step out of it. I immediately want to change something about it. I don't want to have that comfort zone anymore. I want to fight it. But that's me. And that's just one example of doing it in a different way, you know?
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, no, I agree. Being gradual is important. Like a lot of people I work with, I'll say, start drinking a lot of water, drink more water, because I know it's going to make them feel good and make them kind of naturally want to gravitate towards other healthy things rather than I'm going to cut out sugar. I'm going to do this. I'm going to start jogging every day. It's just like, that's too much of a stretch. So yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay. Do you have any good tips of making like powerful, like positive visualizations and affirmations, like techniques or anything, or, you know, how to do it?
Oh yeah. There's one that I received from Bashar that I can share with you. It's quite good. Well, first understand that there's like an infinite parallel futures for yourself, and you're constantly shifting between different earths or different vibration of earth according to your own perspective. And then imagine a person on another world that everything else is exactly the same. It's a parallel earth. He is you, and he has that one thing that you want to manifest. He has that health thing. He has that character change thing. He has that, I don't know, that car that you want, whatever. He doesn't define whatever it is that you want. But I want you to really see him, visualize him, and see the difference between the two of you. And then put him in front of you and close your eyes and imagine that you're giving him a hug or putting your hand on his shoulder, and you're acquiring his energy. And he's giving it to you because he has abundance of it. And see the difference between the worlds. See how he is actually living that dream of whatever it is that you really, really want. And he's you. Don't forget about that. He's always you. Another version of you. And when you're giving him that hug, that hand, that whatever, you're actually receiving that energy inside of you. Now, for most people, I do this as a visualization of, 5 to 10 minutes. Before them, I ask them to feel the energy of the thing they're lacking. And in the end of the visualization, I will ask them to feel the energy of that thing they're lacking again and to see if there's any change. And most people, the 95% and more, who actually say that they feel that there's a change there, that they understand that it's an energy that has changed and like a small switch has been activated. And that's called the visualization of the parallel worlds. It's quite powerful. You can use it on pretty much anything.
That's awesome. I like that. I'm going to actually use it. I pretty much do something very similar in my own visualizations every morning. I'll imagine like a future scenario, but what helps me believe it is more like I imagine it to be like a different version of me. Very similar to what you said. I imagine like, how would my life be if I was like that? And like, I'll imagine like kind of myself walking through my day and just holding my head high, having the things I want. And rather than believing that's me now, I just try to see it. And then I try to create all the feelings that I would think would be associated with what that person, like how does that person feel that has, and I try to like you kind of like you described, I try to absorb that energy state. And then I go into the day with that. But I like the way you laid it out. That's more direct. And I'm going to probably do that tomorrow morning. That's fantastic. I think if people just kept it simple and just start doing that every day, it really works. I know the idea of visualization and stuff, it seems kind of like woo to some people, but at least for me anyway, it works it's very noticeably effective in my life.
It's really about persistence, I'll tell you, for example, how I started going into the world of manifestation. And then after that, eventually I became a breatharian, and that kind of like stepped it up. I was like 23 years old. I wanted to leave the military. In Israel, we have a 3-year mandatory service. I did 5 years. I was an officer, and I was like in a crazy place, and they asked me to sign more and more and more and more. And then one day I woke up looking at myself, holding an Uzi, and I wasn't even a combat soldier. I was like a computer geek. And yet I was serving a purpose that I did not enjoy, and I understood and connected with my pacifism. So I understood that I don't want to be in this type of place anymore. And I started looking out of myself to ways to break the contract. And obviously this is very difficult, because they already have you. And one thing I found that I can do is to get out on something of a health issue. And I started researching how can I create this health issue. And one of the things I found out that, if a person with the placebo heals himself, then he's most definitely able to destroy himself. And I decided to create intentionally a carpal tunnel syndrome. You know what carpal tunnel syndrome is? That syndrome that you have when you're overusing a computer or the mouse too much and stuff like that. So I said to myself, okay, how the hell am I going to do this? I started researching. First book I read was The Power of the Subconscious. And then I read another book about self-hypnosis. And in the nighttime, just before you go to sleep, that's when the waves of your mind go from the beta, the active, into the delta, theta waves, which are more, your subconscious is more susceptible for affirmations and auto-suggestions. And just then, 10 to 15 minutes, I kept touching my hand saying, oh my God, this is so painful. I don't know why this is happening to me. I really feel that there's an inflammation here. And I started lying to myself like that. I just persisted. In the beginning, I didn't even believe it, okay? And after a while, after I think 2 weeks, again, the secret here is persistence. I'm talking to the viewers. I started feeling pain. And then I lied to my mother, I lied to my commanding officers, I lied to my soldiers, I lied to myself, but in such a way that the belief became a knowing. And the knowing goes into the body, and the body created the disease. And I went to the doctors and specialists, and it was a whole bureaucracy process afterwards. And eventually the doctor came to me, like as the specialist of the specialist of the specialist came and said, Ray, it's been 2 months since you started complaining, and we see you have this very serious inflammation in your right hand with all the checks and the ultrasound that we did and stuff like that. And it just told me, Ray, you're going to have to let go of your position in the military. And I was like, oh no, just not that. But then I had a problem. I had that problem in my hand and I couldn't let it go. And it took me more than 2 times to heal myself using the mind and the belief than it took to create the illness. But after that, I haven't been sick even 1 day ever since, because I know how powerful our mind can be and how the subconscious works. You just need to drill down a belief, a thought, a seed of a flower, and that eventually blossoms into whatever it is that you really, really want. So I would say, people, the secret here is persistence. You hear about something, you have a point of motivation that is right now, and the further you go in time forward into the future, you forget your motivation. So if now you see this video and you have a motivation, practice persistence. Choose one of the tips that we taught you here today and just use it every day and see how that works. But you have to be persistent with yourself, at least 10 days, at least 2 weeks, and see the change that it's going to cause.
Yeah, that's I like that story, man. Yeah, but it like you said, it's very powerful when you prove these concepts. They're just concepts to a lot of people. When you prove it to yourself, and you really, wow. Then it's like, now what? Now what do I want to create? Because you can. But to get to that, like you said, it wasn't easy for you. I'm glad you kind of pointed that out, because it's hard. It's hard to believe that you can just create things with your mind. From a lot of people, they weren't really taught that's real. But when you're persistent, you can break through the barriers of your own self-limiting beliefs and then get the achievement. And then like you're like a changed person after that. Once you realize that, it's like, now what? Now it's like the world is your playground in a sense, But yeah, the persistence is key. My viewers are always harping on that, so they're used to that. But I'm glad you pointed out, though.
Yeah, you're focusing them on being more persistent about their decisions and their affirmations and everything.
Yeah, just in general, just like a lot of people, I think, want things, but they aren't willing to kind of put in the consistent, disciplined action over time to get it. And then, yeah.
It's so funny because I think that the persistence comes hand in hand with the intention. If your intention and your motivation is high enough, then you actually do something until you succeed. But then when you succeed, you don't want it anymore. So you don't need to persist anymore, but you already did that thing that you wanted to succeed doing, So
right.
Play with ourselves.
Yeah. Me too, man. I think it's been fantastic. I think we had a nice rapport here, and I know I learned from you, and just hearing some of the things, the way you put some of the your answers to these questions was very helpful to me. I imagine it'll be helpful to my viewers as well. So I really do appreciate you coming on and taking the time out of your Saturday to kind of hang out with us today. Thank you.